Good morning and welcome back to Manda's Ramblings. I thought today I'd go over a few things. So first of all, if you don't know me, my name's Amanda, also known as Manda, Manda's Wool and Bits. I've been on Facebook now for a number of years, basically completing orders for people, and decided a couple of years back I'd start designing my own knitwear and crochet. So yeah, I've slowly but surely built up a few patterns. I think I've got over 50 now on Ravelry, which you can also buy direct from myself. On Ravelry, I'm Manda's Wool and Bits, to try and keep the consistency really. So I started knitting probably about 12 years ago, and crochet I started much more before that. Now I say I started knitting 12 years ago, I had a go when I was a kid, like most of us did, but didn't really get on with it. Had to go again when I was about 21, didn't really stick to it, and it really stuck in the last few years when I became a carer for my daughter Jessica, who was or is diagnosed with autism. She's got Asperger's, which is on the high end, which means that she's able to function like, I hate using the word normal, but like anybody else. The problem that she's got is she's dyslexic, dyscalculic, which means that she struggles with both numbers and letters. And the other thing she struggles with is timekeeping, so cooking's a problem. Confidence, she lacks confidence like myself, but more so than me. So she really finds that anything new is scary and hard to do. So we've been working with her on trying new things. One of the things we found with her was that she really likes to craft. So she's been on Facebook doing and making for quite a while herself. She's called Jessie's Crafty Hands, but she's really the reason that I started to knit. So everyone has a reason why they start to do something, and I wondered what your reason was. So I'd love to hear it in the comments. I promise I'll reply. I'd like to know why other people started knitting. I started knitting to try and keep myself occupied really. I'd done crochet for a while, which I started because of a little boy who, as I mentioned before, he had leukemia, and I made him a hat, and not just him, I made his mum and his dad a hat, all in matching, so that he was able to wear the same as his parents, because obviously he had no hair and needed the hat to keep warm, but he didn't necessarily want to wear a hat. So yeah, I thought it would be a good idea that if I made them all the same, then it would be something that he might want to wear. So that was my take on it. Anyway, back to today. So what have I been up to in the last week? Well, actually quite a lot. I finished the dragon. Now this one's got odd horns because I like to make every single one of these slightly different. He's got lovely purple wings. He is from, the design is Moji. That's the designer. And he's called Drake Dragon. Now, he's brilliant. I just love it. I made a slightly smaller tail on this one, not quite as deep, because the purple that I'd got, I knew I wasn't going to have the amount to be able to make the full one. But actually, I think he's rather cute. So that one's going all the way to America, so I'm really pleased about that. The other thing I've managed to finish this week, do you remember last week I showed you this? Let me see if I can show you it again. This is the blanket, the Knots Over You blanket. I finished that for Dave the other day, so that was quite nice. It took me 25 days to knit that, if anyone's interested. That's 25 days of actual knitting, not knitting it over a 25-day period. It actually took me just over a month from start to finish, because there was a few days I didn't knit it. I was crocheting orders, so I couldn't actually just do the one. Sorry, the sun's a bit bright on the, keeps going in behind a cloud, changing the lighting, but a bit late to change it now. So yeah, so that took me 25 days of actual knitting, anywhere from knitting 20 minutes to knitting for the majority of the day, depending on my time, what I was able to fit in, and also how I felt on the day. Because everyone knows you don't feel like knitting every day. Sometimes you feel like crocheting, sometimes you don't feel like crafting at all. And when you're in pain, like I've been the last few months, you don't actually want to hold it. And that's quite a heavy thing to knit. So that is Knots Over You and is out with testers at the moment, so should be with you soon. I've done it in DK, but there's nothing to stop you from doing it in sock or even in Aran or Chunky. It's one of those patterns that won't change so long as you match a gauge. Now, by matching a gauge, I don't mean to my gauge for the pattern, because if you're changing the thickness of yarn, you're gonna need to change the needle size. So that's DK, and I did it on 4mm. Aran, I'd say 5.5mm needle. I don't know what that is in American terms, sorry. I suppose I could look it up, but not right now. So yeah, so those are the two things that I've made this week that I've finished. Now, what have I started this week? This week I've started a dragon. This is a Chinese dragon, or the European dragon, I think he's called. He's by Crafty Intentions, and he is, Eastern dragon. He is magnificent when done. I've made him twice before, and I'm looking forward to making him a third time, which says something because I don't like usually making them again. So this is the body, which I finished in it took me about 2 days. It doesn't take very long to do the body if I can get in on it on a good day when I'm feeling up to it, because there isn't any more than, I think it's 60 stitches on the needle in the round at any one time, so it's not particularly time consuming to make the body. The time consuming bit comes in when you start doing things like this. So this is its head, and as you can see, it's got little dragon eyes in it. Now the head looks tiny compared to the body. Don't be fooled, the head isn't tiny compared to the body when it's got its horns and its facial features, its eyes and all the rest of it. It brings it out and makes it much bigger. So that's his cute little head. So that's that bit. Now I've managed to do the feet. These are the front legs. Obviously there's two of them, and I'm just about to start the back legs, which are slightly different. They're different in construction. I'm not going to give too much away, because if you want to do it, you're going to buy the pattern. Because it's worth it. She spent a lot of time on it. It's really well written, really well tested. Trust the pattern. Count every single stitch. If your count's wrong, it's not them that's wrong, it's you. And it has been every time. She's always correcting them, so yes, occasionally she might be wrong, but the majority of the time it's not. It's you. You've missed a stitch or you've misread it. There's new stitches in there, ones that I'd never used before I started doing her patterns. Well worth having the, what's it called, the appendix? The bit that tells you, glossary, tells you what all the bits are for and how to do them. They are also really well written, and I recommend looking at them. So that's Crafty Intentions. Do look up the pattern. The one before it, the dragon before it, was Drake. This one, he's moji. Again, they're both on Ravelry. I think you can get them on Etsy as well. Etsy. I don't like getting them on Etsy purely for the fact that they actually charge you more, and I find that you then have to download them and keep a copy of your own. I like Ravelry for the library. I understand a lot of people can't use it, and if you can't, that's fine. Like I say, my patterns you can buy direct from me. So what else have I been up to this week? Yeah, I've been up to more. Here we go. I picked it up again. Yeah, do you remember this? This is my cardigan. This is, this is yarn by the Dye Shack, and I've turned it inside out. This is yarn by the Dye Shack. It is the advent calendar for the 2023, and I have to say that I am in love with every single colour. Now, I don't even like pink, but I haven't been put off by it on this. Now, it's quite close to the colour. The pink here is slightly lighter than it is on the screen for you. The purple is slightly lighter there, but the majority of those actually bob on. So that's actually quite good to show you the colour. This orange is much, much brighter, like really vivid, bright. That's better. There, you can see it. So this, at the moment, I'm only writing it for one size, mine, because by changing the stitch repetition every time, it's a lot of work to try and do. What I might do is make a cowl using all of these stitches, but I don't think I'm going to write the full cardigan up for every size available. I might do it for 2 or 3 sizes, so you could have maybe a small, medium and large, this being the large and maybe the extra large. Yeah, I might do that, but I'm not going to try and do it for every individual size from 32 to 74 or 72 or 65. I'm not doing it. My brain isn't there at the minute, and yeah, I don't fancy it. I don't want to, so I'm not going to. So, like I say, this will be made for size, this one's a size 48 chest, because that's what I am. Yeah, and obviously, yeah, I think I will. I think I'll do it for a small, medium, large and extra large, so that everyone can do it. It'll be much easier to try and work out the stitch repetition for doing that. Yeah, and then I'm definitely going to release it as a cowl as well, so that you can get the stitch repetitions. Really good practice for practicing your stitches. It's I just love it. I just love the colours and everything. So the last few that I've managed to do are these ones here. Now it's really hard to show you on the screen, but let's see there. So these are all different stitches. The purple one, which is really hard to see at the moment, that's called a bamboo stitch. If you haven't tried that stitch, it's well worth it. This orange one, get my colours right, orange one is the same as this one up here, but in reverse. So it's different, and I like that about it. This one's just a simple slip stitch, so there's nothing complicated in that. In fact, there's nothing complicated that I've used so far, and so far I'm on 21 different colours, 21 different designs, so I've got to go to 25. I've got a bit further to go. At the moment it's, you know, from the armpit down, it's probably about 4 inches, maybe 5 at most, but let's see, let's put this against it. It's only a rough guesstimate, because obviously, oh no, it's nearly 6, so it's not bad, but it's still quite a way to go because it's got to fit me. So yeah, I'm quite enjoying picking that up again. I'm only able to work on it a little bit because I've got orders on, and yeah, so let's just put that over there. Right, as you can see, I'm wearing a cowl today. Let's pull it up so you can see it properly. This is by Tellybean Knits, and if you haven't already done one of her cowls, I highly recommend them. Let's put it down here. So I highly recommend them. This one was the Halloween knit along, or make along, knit along I think it was. And the reason I'm wearing it inside is I've got a stiff neck today, and I'm just trying to keep it warm. So I don't normally wear them in the house. That's not true. I do wear them in the house, but only on really cold days, and today isn't a really cold day. I love this. It starts at the top here, and we did like these little spiders, and then we came down and we did eyeballs and yeah, pots. Then these are, ooh, what are they? Broomsticks. So bats, pumpkins, sweet treats, yeah, ghosties, yeah, danger sign. So it is really nice. She doesn't just do this one, she does loads. So that's Tellybean Knits. She's well worth a look up to. Now used in this one is a mixture of yarn. So some of it's Rosie's Moments, some of it is the Dye Shack, some of it is Terry Dow's yarn as well. So I kind of mixed it up this time and used it from all over the place, because I wanted to use up bits and pieces, and I wanted the colours to look good. I didn't follow the colour routines necessarily that Tellybean Knits offered, but there you go. I chose my own. That's the way I do things. I didn't change any of the stitches or the stitch count. I did find it was a bit tight, so maybe I needed to cast on a bit looser. Everything else was perfect. It's up, the stitch gauge was correct. But for me, it just gets tight on my head when I'm pulling it over. squishes my nose. But then I do have quite a big nose, so it could be my fault. Probably is my fault. If I'm truly honest, it probably is my fault. So where am I at? Where does that leave me? Next week, I'm starting a new test knit. Excuse me, coffee. And it's for, I want to say, Sparrow and Cat UK. It's called a Helter Skelter Mitt. I'll talk more about it when I get it. They're actually sending me the yarn for me to knit up for them. So I'm quite excited about that because I've not had any of this yarn before. So I thought it was a good way to find yarn. I found the test by using Yarn Pond. And I've never really used it before until Know How Designs, Karen Pimbleton, introduced me to it a couple of weeks ago when she asked me if I'd do a test knit for her, which is coming out soon, so I'll be able to share that with you. That was another thing I was working on behind the scenes. So yeah, so that... Oh, did I share this? This is Piggy. He's shared on my page, but this is how big he is. He's kind of cute. He's looking for his forever home at the moment. Although I think Jessica would quite like to steal him, but then she'd like to steal everything. So, yeah, what was I saying? Know How Designs, that's coming out soon. But Yarn Pond. It is a place where designers put their work and ask for testers. And I intended to put a test knit up on there. That was my intention. But actually, I've ended up doing some test knitting. So that's fine. You know, that keeps me out of mischief. And the gloves I'm going to put to one side for somebody's Christmas present. So again, another good thing to do. So yeah, if you're into test knitting, it's a nice place to go. Might as well have a look. They've got a few things on there at the moment that are just starting testing. They've got quite a few. Does cowls, they do crochet, they do knit. Some people give you free patterns for doing it. Some people give you yarn to do it in because they want it done in specific yarn. So if they're a yarn seller, then they're going to use their own yarn. Others ask you to use your stash. Quite a good thing to do. It's a good way of getting my stash down. That's the other thing. I'm using only stash yarn at the moment. And by using only stash yarn, I mean I really am using only stash yarn. I haven't bought yarn for a very long time. So the only thing that wasn't stash yarn is my advent calendar, which I get every year. But that is, you know, my treat every year from Dave to me and has been for the last 4 years. So that is something that I don't class as stash yarn, even though I don't class it as new yarn either. But the Piggy, stash yarn. The blanket, 750 grams of stash yarn. The little dragon, he's about 100 grams. The bigger dragon will be about 150 grams, maybe a bit more. So yeah, I'm going through it. Stash yarn. So if you're stash busting, it doesn't have to be a stash blanket. It doesn't have to be something you're going to hide away or give away for charity. It can be something for you, and it can be something good. So anyway, I'm going to go and have a coffee and sit down and talk to the dogs for a bit and possibly do some knitting, since I've got a couple of hours to myself this morning whilst Jessie's out at her Let's Sing group. And yeah, it was nice talking to you again. Hope I didn't ramble for too long. Hope I haven't bored you senseless. You'll have to let me know why you started knitting, and if you've got any questions or you want me to talk about anything specifically, put it in the comments and I'm quite happy to do so. I could ramble all day about anything. Okay, speak soon. Thanks for listening. Bye.